Hey guys, little update on the clan deck. I saw some of you guys asking questions in the Discord, in the Gundam Discord, or privately, or just in the YouTube channels, comments. I think there was like one or two people having success and asking questions. Same thing online as well. I don't know if you guys know, but since uploading the deck video and working with Rain Knight to get this clan deck out there, it's one basically a new type. Uh, one like 2 days after the video was posted. So someone took the deck, won a new type with it. Other people have done really, really well with it. Took it to locals, won their locals twice, back to back, and then so on, right? Did some second places and stuff as well. Into everything, beating blue green aggro, beating a lot of blocker decks, obviously, as the deck is designed to do. So I want to answer some questions and talk to you guys, maybe show you guys a few examples of how the deck actually works now that you guys know what the deck is. These are all the cards in the deck, just laid out single copies in case for references. But yeah, so hope you guys are enjoying Clan as much as I am. I'm currently playing Academy, not Clan, but um, I'm sure I'll get around to Clan uh, as like, still gonna continue with it because I have all the cards. So yeah, so we understand that we want to play Schoolgirl and Gelgoog immediately in the early game. We know that our mid game consists of our Red Gundam and our Pink G-Quux to fill up the board and to have good stats. Then we have our mid game cards that really help turn around, basically affect the board, and our power cards that help us set up for the end game, which is our first strike to get card advantage big time, and then our Red Gundam to breach slash apply pressure, and basically also allow our early game units to break through all of their blockers or anything that has high stat lines. Following that, we have our late game cards. The high maneuver game is in the late game because it doesn't do anything early on. It's a tech card, but in the late game, it's there to end the game with high maneuver, or it can come in with a link and kill something that cannot be blocked, like kill a nail strike, or anything that's really annoying on the board that we need to get rid of because we cannot get around to it with just our attackers because they have blockers. And after that, also can get rid of 6 HP bases or any base through blockers so that our Red Gundam can breach and deal damage to shields. And then we got the G-Quux here to bring up more card advantage, card value. We got our two pilots, mandatory. And then we got our some more tech cards here, our ping damage cards. So we're basically running Ballast, Close Combat, and then the single copy of Gelgoog, basically just there to be an extra close combat, essentially, but also a unit. Um, that can be brought up by our G-Quux. Sometimes you need to play an extra card. You don't have a close combat or battle ace in your hand. Play the G-Quux, bring him out. Obviously, low chance, but when you do it, you basically can do some damage. Sometimes you need 2 damage, not just one. So yeah, that it basically works out. Um, Even if you need 1 damage to kill an air strike, still summon this guy. It's like a fifth copy of our ping damage G-Quux for 2. So that's how it's laid out. Now, most importantly, like I said in the original video deck tech, that the we're trying to open up with our G-Quux, or not our Gelgoog. Our Gelgoog is the most important card to try and find. You basically always want to mulligan and try to find this. So 10 cards deep, draw a card, 6 cards deep, draw another card, 7 cards. Okay. So we're pretty much going 12 cards deep to try and find this. Schoolgirl can also help us dig for this card in particular. So we have a body. Playing this body out is the most important thing because it can crack that EX base early on and apply pressure. It also can take out GMs and stuff like that in the early game so we don't immediately lose to aggro before the game even starts, although that can still happen. And then Schoolgirl is the second most important card mostly because it helps us find or Gelgoog, or in the future helps us find anything that will give us more card advantage. So our Omega Sakamu here, and if the match requires it, our High Maneuver or our pilots, and then our first strikes as well. So basically, depending on the matchup, you get what you want or what you can. You see cards, you put them to the bottom, and now you understand, hey, I just saw 2 Omega Sakamus. I'm going to put 2 of them to the bottom because I have two in my hand, you understand that there's no more left in the deck once you do that. So maybe you'll grab it, or maybe you'll utilize the two you have in your hand more effectively because you know you're not going to get any more of those. Same thing with the first strike. Sometimes you'll grab this just to have it, but other times you'll put it to the bottom because you don't want your opponent to know that you have the first strike. You want to keep them guessing. And so basically you'll know that one's at the bottom. There's only three left. Maybe we'll see another one, maybe we won't. And then the Machu as well. You know, you can bluff, grab this, bluff that you have a Link Machu. They don't want to attack you because they don't want to get first striked, and it can help. Same thing with Red Gundam, or grabbing a certain pilot can also give clues to your opponent of what you're trying to do. Unfortunately, this is not 5 cards deep. It's not a high level card, and it's not as important as Path to Victory or Defeat, where you are particularly looking for key cards to control the whole game later in stages of the game. In Clan, we're very much in control most of the time, and so we don't really need a particular card to break our opponent's back. We need key pieces to impact the board at a certain like lower percentage than like a wing zero. Okay, so those are there. The Red Gundam is one of our best cards. Any color basically that has a 3/4 stat line is very, very strong, right? Everybody thinks that Rizal 4/3 for a level 3/2 cost, very strong. But the thing is, HP is more important than damage because damage can be found anywhere, and HP makes sure that you can kill stuff, stay alive, and then your opponent has to still deal with you. So I value HP a lot more. Same thing with pilots that give you an extra HP. Suji Link with this is 4/6. And getting through 6 amount of health is very, very dangerous, or not dangerous, but very hard for a lot of decks to get through. They pretty much have to send a link unit or 2 cards into it minimum to get rid of it. The ping damage Equox is here because it sets up battle aces, gets rid of tokens, and it can help clear out things where a Gelgu can now attack. They block it with a it's like a gun tank ping. So it can help clear up Lifrits after they block a Red Gundam or a Gelgu, getting you a card advantage essentially. That's pretty much what that is there for. It does link with Machu for 6 attack power, which is very good when you're trying to crack a 6 HP base, or like a Psycho Gundam, something that is above that 5 HP threshold, which 5 HP is that mid-range threshold, 6 HP is your attending. You're now entering like the late game durable bodies. And then 7+ is Wing Gundam level, which is, you know, as you guys know, Wing Gundam is a very powerful card when linked, and it gives you lots of stats that not a lot of people can deal with without, again, using 2 cards. Same thing with the 4 HP breakpoint, or 6 HP breakpoint. Okay, so next up, we got these guys right here. I want to talk about these 2 cards in particular, mostly. So you don't have to run 4 copies of the G-Clux First Strike because the First Strike is not as important as you may think. It does not come up every single time. It is a situational in this matchup or in the game that I'm playing at the moment. Do I need to build extra card advantage? If you need to build extra card advantage, you will purposely try to pair your Machus with this card to get you that extra +1/+2 cards every single time you get a good value off of this. But the main reason for this is that it's a 3 cost, which is cheap compared to other decks out there. Usually it's going to be a 4 cost 4/4 like Ale Strike, or other, you know, cards essentially. So with a very strong ability like this that links with your main pilot, it's a 3 cost 4/4, and the 4/4 stat line is very powerful. And as we go through the whole deck, you'll see that we have 4 health on this, 4 health on this. Red Gundam has 3, but that's okay. But it's going to have 5 with Suji. And then we have 4 health on this and 4 health on this. Everything has 4 HP, so nothing can be close combat pinged off. Nothing can get Q-Belly pinged and finished off. Nothing is going to die to the opponent's 3 attack power units or their early game 3/3s. No tokens, anything like that. Everything has to be dealt with pretty much above edge amount of attack power. So the first strike is not mandatory. You really do just play it. You can hold it with Machu if you have it, but in given situations, it's not a you need to activate the first strike to get through this. Okay, but your opponent will know you're playing this because you're playing Clan. So it's a good it's like Death Scythe, but Death Scythe is not cheap, so you really do need the effects by pairing it. Um, yeah. So Red Gundam, this card, um, this card is important because in the mid game it bumps up your Red Gundam and your Gelgoog, which I'll get to in a second. But in my examples later on, pretty much you do not want to play this card. Just like if you have nothing else to do, maybe you do it. But I'm going to show you examples of when we get to close combat as to why we don't do that. We play Red Gundam, they're gonna armor ray tap it and kill it. That is what we do not want to happen. Okay, so what we do is we keep Red Gundam in our hand because we know the game's gonna go late game when we're playing against blocker decks or any mid-range deck. We're not gonna. The game's not ending in the first 4 or 5 turns like it's against aggro. It's ending on turn 8 through like 12, 13 even. So we don't. There's no rush to play our Red Gundam if we don't have to. We have other options that we can pass. This card, depending on if you get the breach one or not, is going to make a not a huge difference, but it's going to make a difference that could matter in the reason why you win or lose your game. So if you want to win like 5%, 10% more of your games, making sure that the Red Gundam does get the breach value off is going to ensure that you actually close the game out. And then the plus 2 AP obviously is to break through blockers, like I said, and bigger cards. Uh, yeah, if you have multiple of these, then you can play it. But even then, you don't want to let your opponent Amuro kill it or close combat ping it, and then you kind of go down in value and lose out on a free card and one of your most powerful cards. Even later into the game, when people are kind of like running out of cards, playing 2 Red Gundams at the same time makes sure that your opponent can't block them. They're gonna get damage off. They're gonna get breach off when your opponent does not have a base, or are gonna use all their cards they can to re-fortify the position on the board. Red Gundam can basically again apply a lot of pressure breaking it, just like it would in normal circumstances. So that's pretty much I want to talk about Red Gundam right there for now. High Maneuver and Searcher, good cards. Don't need to talk about it too much. You can play 2 Red Gundams or 3 Red Gundams with High Maneuver. Either one is fine. Probably going to 2 if you need to find space for anything else. Cut one of these 2, completely fine. Because it's not a card you always need, but it's a card you can dig for with Clan, very importantly. You're going to go through about half your deck. You're probably going to see a Red Gundam at some point. So running 3 is not mandatory, because it's not needed to win, but it is a good ace in the hole like a Char's Gelgoog to close the game out. Uh, Again, you don't need multiple Char's Gelgoog. Sometimes, they're already used up or you never see them. Same thing with Red Gundam. It's basically a Char's Gelgoog, just needs a pilot. Omega Sakamu. Just make sure when you guys are playing this card that you don't have to play it on curve. You can play other things. And also that you are understanding that if you play this, you might be putting pilots at the bottom of your deck. And if you play this, make sure you're counting how many, like what's the chance. Okay, if you don't want to do math, don't do math. Just know that start thinking about, have I seen a lot of my high end cards lately or low end cards? Have I seen a lot of misses or targets that I can actually choose with this, right? So misses or hits. In the recent events, in my recent draws, have I seen more hits or more misses? And depending on that, you'll choose to play this card and know that if I've seen a lot of misses lately, then I'm probably going to get a hit very, very soon. So I should play this. My odds are higher. If I've been seeing a lot of hits, my odds are lower because I'm going to probably see a miss coming up soon, if not stacked together. Okay, the most important thing about this deck, which as soon as we talk about this, we're going to get into the blocker matchup and things like that. That's one of the main questions of like, and why we're playing Battle Aces. Why is Battle Aces so powerful in the game, essentially, and what it does? It's a 3 damage card, which is very, very strong. But how do you use it? Number one, we're playing this as our defensive mechanism against aggro. And number two, we're running out of cards, and one of the reasons why we can actually stick around with blocker decks and show resolves and all these things is because good stat lines, aka blocker stat lines, but bigger. They're basically bigger blockers for foregoing the blocker keyword. If you forego the blocker keyword, you essentially get a +1/+1 or like a +1 on health or whatnot, right? So it's really good value there. And then that ultimately means we don't need to block, which means we're stronger than the blocker player units, and we're going to overcome them with raw stats. So we stat check them. In terms of these cards here, the Shigai Gelgoog is just an extra ping. We know that, no problem. You can immediately remove this if you don't want to play it. I have an alt art, so I'm playing it. And there's been games where this has come up and is useful. And it's a unit, so I can still play it just as a beater. Not really a beater, but a 3/3. And swing for extra damage. They have to deal with a 3/3. It doesn't have 2 HP, so it's not super easy to kill. So it's fine. Then we have these cards. So these are gonna protect us from shield, kill GMs and Zaku's and stuff like that. And then once we get to the mid game, this is very important. When we get to the mid game, they're gonna swing like Kira or Wing Gundam, for example. Wing Gundam swings, takes out, I don't know, a Red Gundam or a Omega Sakamu. Okay, either one, and it breaches. It breaches one of these. It pings for 2. All of a sudden, 3 plus 2 is 5. The Wing Gundam has 2 HP left. The close combat can finish it off. The Gelgu can finish it off. Or we can play Ballast to finish it off. Okay. So it essentially lines up so that we could play 1 Battle Aces from our hand to finish something off. So essentially we trade a Red Gundam and a Battle Aces from hand, 2 cards for their Wing Gundam and their hero for 2 cards. Okay. This is not achievable unless we hit the burst, okay, or they attack into any of our 4 attack units. That's another thing. So when we're using math, Wing Gundam swings into Red Gundam or Omega Sakamu or any of these guys, literally like anything it swings into that's tapped or standing like Omega, this 4/2. They swing into this to kill it. Wing Gundam has 3 health left. Battle Aces, kill it. That's a really good trade for us. We're trading a useless early game card, not useless, but not the best for the mid to late game, and then 1 card from our hand to kill a Wing Gundam. That is one of their most crucial power cards that is going to like really hurt us while controlling the board, to try to catch up into the game and tempo wise. That we can just battle aces and kill it immediately. We don't have to sit around and wait forever. It's also very useful to play battle aces against Gundam in particular, because Gundam is going to swing into, well, I guess in this case it doesn't matter if it's Gundam or not, but if it's Battle Aces or close combat. But in most other decks, if you guys play a lot of red decks, Battle Ace is very good when they try to attack into your Lifrith, for example, playing a white-red red velvet. Gundam attacks Lifrith, and then you Battle Aces on their turn to kill them. Okay, now you might be asking, well, how do I do that? I'm always tapped out on that turn. I play 2 red Gundams, and I end my turn, or Shogai Gelgoog and Red Gundam. Okay, this is why these 2 cards are very important. And that there's a thing that I do, and I guess a trading card game, not theory, but like a concept that you should be using, that I coach, is don't do anything. Just passing your turn. Doing nothing is strong. Why is it strong? Because your opponent's going to be in the mindset of, I'm going to play turn 4 is around. Okay, I'm going to play a unit. Okay, if not, I'm going to play 2 units. When you guys go up against blocker decks, the assumption is that on their turn 4, right, that they're going to play double blockers. It's very common that they're going to play 2 blockers, Striker Back and Lifrith or double Lifrith, and that's their turn, right? So, same thing for us. Our turn is going to be like 2 Red Gundams, Red Gundam plus Gelgoog and so on, or maybe a 3 cost card, and then we kind of pass our turn there. Well, what I do against Ailstrike in particular, and why people should be building decks to counter Ailstrike in particular and deal with it, is we go to our turn 4 or turn 5, whatever, with our EX, right? What we're going to do is hold Battle Aces in close combat in our hand. Now, the blocker deck has a few options. They have 4 to 5 resources to play Ailstrike Link or not. Number 1, they can play Ailstrike. Okay, I'll use this Karibo token. They can play Ailstrike. If they play Ailstrike with no link, no pair, nothing, they need to be aware that we can double close combat their Ailstrike. Okay, that's the first thing, that they can lose Ailstrike to 2 combat spells. They can also lose it to a G-Quox and a Battle Aces. So we have easy ways to deal with Ailstrike. This is a very common way of dealing with Ailstrike. So what they'll do is put a pilot on it. Now, once they put a pilot on it, and let's say they want to bounce, I don't know, a Gelgoog. They want to bounce a Gelgoog, and they want to swing into a Red Gundam that was on the board earlier, and they're going to get rid of Red Gundam with a -2 AP. Well, normal people would have played the Red Gundam, an extra Red Gundam, or a bigger Red Gundam, or whatever card they want. This also works into normal Gundam. We're simply going to go to the actions phase and close combat battle aces together and kill their Ailstrike, kill their Gundam, kill basically their Kshatriya, anything that has 5 HP and is a threat, okay? So one of the big plays I pretty much want to say here is particularly into anything that makes a very, very strong, like Ailstrike link, Kshatriya link, um, yeah, basically those two links, Ailstrike in particular. Just pass your turn. If you have these two in hand, pass your turn. Because what is the white player going to do? What is the red white player going to do? What is the anything that plays level 5, unicorn, all these cards, what are they going to do on their turn 5? Okay, it's very simple. They are going to play, they have 2 cards in their hand. Well, let's just say they have 5 cards in their hand for example's sake. Okay? One is going to be their Freedom Gundam slash Wing Zero slash level 7, like basically a big card, right? It's gonna be a big unicorn, a big card. If you're versing G-Quux, it's gonna be their big G-Quux, right? Level 7 or level 8 G-Quux. Can't play it. So basically their hands card is now 4 cards because that one card doesn't matter. Then they have, if you're versing a white deck in particular, it's gonna have, let's say, 2 blockers in their hand. Now, one's probably going to be a Lifrit or a Striker Pack. Maybe they already have a Striker Pack in play. And then maybe it's a Ailstrike. Okay, so we have an Ailstrike and a 1 blocker. Then the last remaining cards are pretty much going to be, let's use this, a command card like Overflowing or Unforeseen or a base maybe and whatnot. And then they have a pilot. Okay, I don't have a pilot on me, but they're going to have a pilot. And it might be common that they have 2 pilots or 2 Ailstrikes or 2 Freedom Gundams, so on. My point here is that they don't have a lot of different really good options. They can't play the pilot, they can't play their big cost card, so those 2 are out of the equation. Now they can play, they have multiple resources open. They can play Overflowing to get cards. If they play Overflowing, they can't play Ailstrike because it costs 4, okay? Because they don't want to burn the EX. So Ailstrike is out of the equation. But they want to play Ailstrike because it's the most efficient thing they can do. And so they're probably going to play Ailstrike. But if they're going to play Ailstrike, they're going to use the EX to pair Kira and basically use up all their cards in their hand to do something which will close combat battle aces, remove these 2. Now they're stuck with 3 cards and they basically use all the resources to do nothing. And they have 3 cards left. Okay? It's not very good, is my point. Same thing with Kshatriya and stuff. Next time you guys are playing a white deck or against a red-white deck, count how many cards they have in their hand. It's going to change game to game, but on average, like, X amount of cards. Then think to yourself, well, they're going to have a big card, a pilot, maybe a base, or a command card, one or the other. And then they're going to have, like, 2 of their most common cards in their hand that they want. Like an early game card and a good mid-game card. Okay? Basic card counting or just understanding that that's what they're going to have on average on those turns and having good hands. So what you do is just let them play the Ailstrike and then pop it on their turn. Why are we popping on their turn? You might be like, well, we're going to skip our turn, right? But we have all our resources open. We're not skipping our turn. We are just delaying our turn to use our resources on their turn, thus using cards. And then on our turn, we draw a card and refresh, but we waste their turn. So we waste our turn asking them to please do something. If they don't do anything, our board state is always going to be good because it's going to be a Gelgoog, a Red Gundam, okay, into a pass, go to turn 5 or turn 4, whatever, depending on if we're going second or first. And then we're going to go hold close combat battle aces in our hand, okay? If you really think your opponent has Ailstrike or Gundam in their hand, don't play Red Gundam. Just hold close combat battle aces and pass. Then next turn, you're like, oh, maybe I won't play it. Don't play anything again. Just wait for their good cards and get rid of them with close combat battles. This is the most important play that no one's going to do, but this is a very, very strong play if you're playing red, is Once you see these two together, hold them and then play them on your opponent's turn on their strong turn. So you guys should know what a strong turn looks like for any deck in the game, right? Like Ale Strike is a strong turn, Wing Gundam is a strong turn, Death Scythe, Wing Zero, like these crucial power turns when they get to play their good cards. Hold these, pop their guys on their turn. They're probably gonna put a pilot on it, attack with it, because they're gonna link up and swing, try to take your guys out. Now you just make them pass their turn, deal with their good cards, keep swinging or attacking, and you're good. The other thing is when you're going into that particular turn, okay, and you know they're gonna play Ale Strike, for example. Okay, you play these two. They're gonna play Ale Strike. You're like, I don't want to get Ale Strike bounced and then killed and so on. Okay, just don't attack. Okay, do not attack the opponent on the turn they're gonna play Ale Strike. Okay, let them play Ale Strike. If they want to bounce a guy, no problem. Let them bounce a guy. It doesn't matter because everything in our deck is very cheap to play out, and we don't lose cards. It also shows what their hand is, and if they're gonna play a Link with Kira, it also allows us to now navigate what's left in their hand because they played two cards. That means there's like 3 or 4 cards left. We can really understand what's left in their hand. That's also a Kira that is gone, and Ale Strike that we've seen. We don't need to worry about it as much because they've already played it. Right? If I play a Red Gundam Link, you don't got to worry about another Red Gundam Link coming out right after because it's very unlikely that they have a second one. If they have a second one, it doesn't matter because that's going to be another 2 cards out of their hand. And then we know that there's probably going to be no more for the rest of the game. Another thing, if they play a Link and they swing at you, like let's see, I'll leave these two open. They play Akira Link, they bounce Red Gundam. They swing their Gundam into our shields, knock one out. That's fine. They have to respect our first strike. They have to respect our Red Gundam Link that can breach. Okay, so in the game of Gundam, tapping your units is opportunity for your opponent to capitalize on a tapped unit. It's the only way to interact with your opponent's units by default. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that you do not want to tap your units if you don't need to, and you are going to get card advantage if you play your cards right, and to hold these two in your hand if your opponent's going to go for a power turn, and then deal with them. Okay, let's say I have a very good Red Gundam from previous turn. I swing with Red Gundam, boom, hit shield, whatever. Okay, everything's fine. But I hold these two in my hand on the next turn because I know my opponent's going to play this guy, try to first strike my Red Gundam. When he goes to do that, I close combat battle aces. He just lost that in a Machu Link, and his turn basically ends because he used all of his resources. So very important. Try it out, right? In your games, think about it of what happens when you don't play things, hold these 2 cards, and what happens in particular when you play these 2 cards on their strong turn. Okay, when you have resources open. This is not just a turn 2 play or turn 5 play. This is a when you have these two and you think your opponent's going to go for that or needs to do something, you can basically now counter them in their own turn. It's like a counter spell in their turn essentially, for their turn, and it can really put them back. Okay, enough talk about. Actually, no. One more thing about close combat balances. In the mid game, we're gonna be trading. Everything is happening. Our opponent's Ale Strike, bouncing, whatever. Okay, we can't deal with Ale Strike, but Ale Strike attacked into Red Gundam, -2 AP. Okay, he took 2 damage. Maybe it was linked, so he took 3 damage. And then we get to the mid game where we have a Gelgoog, we have a Red Gundam, and these guys. I'm going to clear everything else out so we can put the blockers on the table and show you guys what's up. So we go Red Gundam, Gelgoog, and we have a Red Gundam on the board because we deployed one. And we've kind of gone across the first Ale Strike and so on. Now we're getting to like that really, really, level 6, level 7 stuff. What's going to happen, if I can find my blockers that I threw away somewhere, right here, is so we play Red Gundam. There's a Lifrith. There's a Rig Diaz. Who cares? Probably won't be, but let's just say they would just play these cards. And then this Launcher Strike. Pretend the Launcher Strike is an Ale Strike because I don't have an Ale Strike. So it's an Ale Strike 4/4. Okay, what happens is, let's say that they swing ill strike. Or they put Amuro on the ill strike, they bounce a guy, irrelevant, they bounce something else. They swing it, tapping a red Gundam, killing a red Gundam. Okay, red Gundam's dead. And now we're on the back end. We're on the back end, and this guy has swung. He took like 2 damage, for example. Maybe he took 3 because there was a link on it. Maybe we pinged it. Maybe we can ping it on our turn with the Omega Saikamu, okay? For example. Or let's say our turn comes around. Our turn comes around, we play an Omega Saikamu. We ping it to 3. Okay, doesn't matter. The main thing to understand here is our opponent's turn comes around. Again, he has no armor left, or maybe he does, whatever. But he cannot interact with our board. Now, he has 2 options. Play more guys and just build up his board, which is fine. And then at some point, we're going to get another Red Gundam, which will allow us to swing, bump up our guys, and just break the whole board. Because his blockers will all die. Our guys will survive if he misblocks or we get around with pings. Because our guys have more HP than their blockers do most of the time. We also breach. We also are aggressive, so we're going to have more shields than they have. And if you guys have played this deck, you guys know against a blocker or slower decks, most decks usually have almost all of your shields up. Even your EX base is usually up against blocker decks, right? So you're not really worried about your shields. But getting to that part, if we don't see the Red Gundam, we play this and we pass, okay? We have nothing else to play because all we have in our hand are like the bigger units. We have like Omega Sakamu, Red Gundam, and G-Quux. We couldn't play 2 cards. We played this, we ping his Ail Strike. Now, the blocker deck, or whatever deck you're playing into, can go on the offensive. They can. And we have all of our shields right here. They can go on the offensive. It's actually exactly 6 shields, which is surprising. Okay, now, let's say that they attack. They don't want to swing with the Ail Strike because it's going to die. They swing with Rick Diaz, whatever unit it is. Okay, Schoolgirl. Nothing happens. They attack again. Boom. Sugai Gelgu. Nothing happens, right? The swing with Ill Strike, maybe, or somebody else. Close combat. Now, you need to gain a value out of your shields. Then this is a very important thing when you hit the mid game, that you understand that you are running low on cards. You have 3 cards. Your opponent activated Show of Resolve. You have not played your Show of Resolve yet, and it might whiff, right? We have a chance of whiffing. They don't. They obviously just going to draw whatever cards they draw. Could be bad cards, could be good cards, doesn't matter. But the point is, understand that yes, we lost our Red Gundam early. Okay? He killed it. His AL strike is low. We went -1. Don't worry about it. You know why? Because when we play this close combat from our shield area, we'll kill his AL strike. Now, the AL strike is linked with the Kira. So what happens is he killed Red Gundam, -1. We kill AL strike and the Kira. That's a -2 for him. So we are at a +1. Okay, so we get a +1 automatically, which is very big for us. And this is one of the ways that you build advantage with this deck. Is it's not just about playing what's in your hand or what's left in your hand. Okay, you can get extra cards and build advantage back towards your side in terms of card advantage by utilizing your shields. Same thing with like a striker pack for the white decks. Maybe a base that draws them a card to keep playing cards. We ourselves as well, we don't play bases. You can play bases. Well, the deck plays bases, but I don't play bases in particular most of the time, is because I want to value more of these. So close combat and these things, utilize your shields. If you don't have a good answer to deal with your opponent's board, understand that, and if you maybe you need a ping, maybe you need 2 pings, whatever it is, maybe you need to like damage their lift writs so that your guys cannot swing and the lift writ won't survive the attack, or the ill strike will be hurt enough that you can play Omega Sakamu and ping it and finish it off. Maybe that are Rick Diaz, right? So you have this card in your hand, you don't want to play it yet. You're waiting for it. So you'll play these 2 cards. Or you'll play 1 card, doesn't matter. They're gonna hit close combat, ping the Rick Diaz down to 1 HP. Now play this, finish it off. You gain a +1. Very powerful. That's pretty much what you have to do in the mid game. So you destabilize your opponent while holding up an attack. So you're holding up an attack. He can try to chip you down if he has the advantage. He can try to go like hit your shields decently hard. But good players will be aware that you can possibly hit burst cards. Bad players or players you can punish will get punished because you are going to wait and bide your time to let your shields do the work for you and to stabilize the game back in your favor with these burst cards, okay? And then they're going to start losing units. So, in most cases of Gundam, a burst card is a +1, like a pilot. We get a +1 card. It can be a striker pack, get a +1 unit. It can be a base, which also draws you a card, which is technically a +1, right? Because I don't count shields as pluses in terms of like, oh, I hit my opponent's shield, it's a +1 for me. It's not a +1. Pluses are only cards in your hand and that you can use. Okay, so if you use purple and you can play cards out of your graveyard, you bring it to the battlefield, it's a plus. You put it to your hand, it's a plus. You play level 7, plays a card from the top of your deck, it's a plus, right? So everything's a plus. You play Omega Sakamu, ping something to death, technically it's a plus, and then your opponent has to kill your guy with, let's say, a Lifrith, kills it, blocks it. Now that's 1 for 1, but my guard got a +1 ultimately. Most of the time, yes, your opponent will have hit something to get damage on them in the first place, but also could have got damaged by um, other things, or Red Gundam swinging into opponent's Red Gundam. Mine survives, theirs gets damaged, we ping it to death, and so forth. So close combat battle aces are very important, and this is the reason why I play them. A lot of people think, oh, battle aces cannot be used because my opponent does not have damage on it. That is true, but they always forget that it's a burst effect from shields, and that means you're playing cards from shield. It's a free 2 damage. Technically, playing cards from your shield area also is like almost like a second hand. It's just not guaranteed. It's risky, but you can build a deck with 30 plus burst cards. So the optimal, like, you're gonna be basically utilizing so many extra cards from your shield area that playing cards like First Contact, which technically gives you a resource, it's a -1 card, doesn't impact the game in terms of the board. It can still come from bursts, and that's playing a free ramp card for you. Playing a free card, playing Ballast a close combat from shields is still a free card you play to impact something, right? It can kill a GM, that's a +1. The big thing about aggro decks is that they get to play 2 cards a turn, 2 cards a turn. Ultimately, what they're doing, we both have the same amount of cards because we both draw 5 cards and draw 1 per turn, but they're just playing faster than us. They're just playing cards faster, 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 and our thing is that we can't play as many cards as them as quickly, but we'll catch up in the back end because we have bigger monsters, and we will get our pluses later into the game while they get their tokens early. We get our summonings after from the top of the deck and Machu links and so on. So it comes in the back end, but we're usually dead by then. So playing cards from the shield area, like close combat battle aces, we can actually keep up with them. They play 2 cards, they swing 2 at the shields, we activate 2 cards, kill both of their guys. Everything's good, right? We might be down on shields. Now it's a matter of time. Can they play more guys and kill us or not? And that's the important thing. Okay, that's enough about close combat and battle aces. You guys might be bored hearing about that or intrigued and happy I explained it so much. So let me know in the comments uh, all about that jazz, and if you guys ever thought about that. Now, showed you guys a little bit about the blocker thing as well, that what you guys want to do. If they make a blocker wall, simply Red Gundam is your answer to it. Some ping damage can also help, and then ultimately you can get to your big cards and you'll get pluses on your opponent. When they play Show Resolve, we play the level 7 G-Quux, which gets the +1, right? So our Show Resolve is not draw 2 cards. Our show and like kind of like draw 2 cards, but now we're down on resources, we can play less cards. Our card is literally just says play 2 dudes, which is like amazing because that saves us so much energy. It's really really good. Okay, so that's great. And then on that turn, we can also play 7 units. Oh, sorry, 3 units because we played the level 5 cost. We have 2 costs left. We play a Gelgoog or Red Gundam, and then we teleport, special summon a Red Gundam from the top of our deck. So we played 3 dudes in 1 turn, which is very strong for clan. Which is also why Zaft is very strong, not in the new set, but in general is what I meant. Like Zaft has a mechanic which is like G-Quux level 7, and that effect is very very strong. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about here is, why am I not using particular cards that are in the game? Okay, I'll explain to you. So G-Clocks and the clan deck is a mid-range deck. Now I know mid-range doesn't really exist in Gundam in GDO 1/GDO 2 because it loses to aggro. Because aggro is a fundamentally game-breaking thing, and it's not even aggro. Okay. Now I don't believe that the aggro decks in Gundam are quote unquote true aggro decks. And obviously they're playing very aggressive. They're trying to kill you with weenies really really quickly. But when you play traditional card games, they can aggro decks generally try to direct damage you, burn you to death with high maneuver, or breach. That's essentially what, in terms of like as a game designer for Gundam, my way of introducing aggressiveness or aggro will be to give units breach, give units high maneuver, and things like that. Okay, but my game design wise, I would not make it aggro as this playing 1/1s. Playing 1/1s is not very good in almost any game. Why does it work in Gundam is because the game is fundamentally broken slash flawed. That this is like the first game we're just playing, running 50 cards that cost one each in a deck of just GMs will win you games. It's completely stupid. So in this game, we are basically not playing our tutus. Now, I know people in the Discord, you guys yourselves, YouTube, play the tutus for clan, right? Where's my Rick Dom? They play the tutus, Rick Dom. Now, why do people play the tutus? Because they want to try and match aggro by playing this, and swinging, and then trading our own units to trade with their GMs to slow them down, then hit the mid to late game and try to come back. You're gonna lose doing that. You know why? Because other decks in the game could have also played tutus and swung. In fact, they could have played better tutus with one cost and not these two cost guys. If we wanted to do that, Police Zaku is a great outlet in terms of like actually killing a GM, surviving, and then people complain that it gets onshore gun tank pinged. But sometimes your opponent doesn't have that, and another thing is that they have to waste the energy to play their gun tank, so they're not playing other cards, and they have to have it, and it makes them basically kind of like they gotta do something to get rid of our guys. Sometimes they don't have it, they don't swing, um, and then game keeps going forward. Okay, so I don't play these guys. Number one, we don't need a 2/2/2/2 support unit. I don't know why we're supporting something. Doesn't really make any sense, right? The only reason for support one is like, oh, I can play this and I can play another one. Now I can support the other guy and take out their shields. Okay, cool. You're trying to be aggressive. Clan is not in a super aggressive deck. We're not trying to win the game in the first 5 to 6 turns because we cheesed your opponent with tutus and they had a very bad hand. That's not how Clan is trying to win. Okay, just go play the actual quote unquote aggro decks in the game that are very abusive, like 1 Year of War and Blue Red and stuff like that. Even Academy aggro, basically any deck Xeon aggro, everything is the same. You can just abuse cards and win with 1/1s. So that's why we're not playing this guy. Ortega's Rick Dom. Why am I not playing this guy? Now this guy is useful. This is a Maganak. Okay, you guys probably don't know what a Maganak does in this game, but Maganak is the original Ortega's Rick Dom. Okay, it's the original card that says your unit can now attack into an enemy unit. Okay, uh, so this card is good, it's useful. The only reason I'm not playing this card is I would not run 4 of these because we do not need to up our chances of hitting the level 7 or Schoolgirl or anything like this. What we do need to up is the chances of playing a 2 cost going second on turn 2. That is true. But we can just play Zakus and things like this if we want to be defensive. This card is very good for its ability. I agree with that. And you can 100% put 2 to 3 copies of this into your deck. I would more be on the line of playing 1 to 2 copies of this myself. And I've tried to play 2 copies of it. It's not bad, but I'm not trying to play early game cards, and I really, really do not want to play cards that have the 2 HP marker. Okay, anything that is more useless into Wing 0 because it kills everything, and as we talked about earlier, most of our units have 4 HP. That is a big fucking deal. Okay, that is the main thing we're utilizing and why we can keep up with a lot of decks is for health. Anything that has 3 HP can be linked and brought up to 4 and so on. This guy will die. This guy's not very strong in the later stages of the game because of his low HP, low attack power. And he's only really there because, make sure we have something to play, just like our Gelgoog, the most important card. So if you want to put 2 of these in the deck, completely fine, super easy to do. Remove the first strike Gelgoog to the first strike G-Quux to 3 copies, and remove the 2 damage Gelgoog pinging guy to this guy, and that'll basically like be totally fine. Okay, so those are the main 2 cards. We don't play Zakutus again. We're not trying to be an aggro deck. We are doing what clan is meant to do and play mid range and have advantage. The other thing is talking about Ruthless Tactics. Now, when I wanted to play 10 pilots, I was playing Ruthless Tactics because it's an action card. So when they attack into us, we can bump our guy to +2 AP and basically counter them taking out one of the units. The thing in Gundam with the action cards and command cards is when I play this, I go -1. No matter what ability it gives me, whether it makes my Rigdom be a +2 AP and then go kill an Ale Strike for 5, the thing happens is that well, I played 2 cards, I lost 2 cards. My opponent lost a Kira Ale Strike. So it's a 2 for 2 trade. I don't want to trade 2 for 2 all the time, especially if I'm playing a command card. I rather play more bodies and play ping damage to clean things up. And sometimes this was like, oh, I can link this with my Gelgoog or something and swing my high maneuver. But ultimately, I took it out of the deck because I just want more bodies, stronger cards, and there's a reason why other decks in the game also don't play these like weird command pilots that are like really low cost and stuff because they're not very good, and so we're not running them. Okay. Now I do think red with the increasing AP as an action is as good as unforeseen is at times, but it's not unforeseen because keeping your guy alive and killing your opponent or keeping both alive is very different than increasing your attack power. Also, unforeseen works. The biggest thing unforeseen works on your bases and shield hits. This does not work on that. So, yeah, this card gave suppression. We would play it. It doesn't give suppression. So it's not, the utility isn't there. There's no other clan cards to really talk about besides bases, so I'll quickly go over bases. There's 2 bases here that I have. I'll talk about the third one first. The one that I don't have here is the hideout. Okay, Suji's hideout, we don't play it. We don't need extra ping damage. Okay, if our whole deck was filled with ping damage, people might say, oh, that makes battle aces very good because it's always going to be live. That's not true. Okay, and I'm not going to go into detail about that. That's just a thing. If you're really interested in that, ask me privately or in the comments. Why do I think that running a full deck of ping damage makes battle aces not as good as it does? Okay, as it should be. Because on paper it does sound like it's, of course it goes in the deck that has all the ping damage, but you don't want maximizing on ping. You want to have combo. You want to combo things and synergize, and then that's it. Okay, so these 2 bases here. The one that gives +2 AP, interesting, but again, we talked about Ruthless Tactics, not really needed, so we're not going to play this. This is probably like one of the bases that we really don't need because we have Red Gundam, we have Pilots, we have Machu Links for 6 attack power, not needed. We're playing late game cards. Okay, this one is the one that is quite interesting. Maybe once we get another pilot in the next set or whatever, this will become better. We are trying to like beat our opponent down, so breach helps. If we had a third pilot in the deck that was strong, not that command pilot, but an actual good pilot like Nyan, if Nyan was clan and got a new clan pilot and a clan unit, G-Fred and stuff, then this would be good. Lala or whoever from the show, right? Maybe even her, who knows? But we don't have that. So this card is okay. We are not winning the game because we are breaching our opponent's shields. And again, sometimes if you play wing a lot, breaching our opponent's shield also means that when we're just trying to control the board, breaching our opponent's shield, like I talked about earlier, could impact in a negative way by giving them a +1. giving them a pilot link, giving them a close combat, a striker pack, a base to draw a card, so on. So when you play wing a lot, you don't want to swing at your opponent's shields, but sometimes you only have wing Gundam. So you swing, they get a pilot, the link for game, the link to kill your Gundam, they close combat, battle aces, whatever the case is. They basically get an extra card to now impact the board and the game when you could have just killed a unit and they were stuck with the one card in hand. Because you hit the shields, you hit a base, or you breach the shields, you hit a base, they drew a card, you pass the turn, they draw another card. They went from one card to three rather than one card to two. That is a significant difference, especially if you gave them a pilot. Now there's a high chance that they can link with something and be even more powerful on the comeback. Okay, one of the good things in Gundam, and you guys will 100% think about this and feel this, is when you have a good turn into your opponent. Let's say you kill Ailstrike, you breach, you do all these things. It feels really good. Okay, the best thing you can do is when you're playing Gundam, is have two good turns back to back. When you have two like good turns back to back, it feels like you're really comfortable at that point. Because gaining like pulling the rope back to your side makes you feel strong because like, oh, I pulled it back. But pulling it back even further or holding it in the position, that's when you're like, oh, because I held it here, I saved some energy. I didn't have to panic. I can reconfigure my mental on how the game's going to progress. And nothing bad happened, which means most likely my opponent is fatigued or running out of cards, has no good options. Now I can really apply pressure and go for the win, or I can really like even build up a better board and so on, right? Or you can not even swing at them because if you uh, swing your guys, do a take a trade or not trade, but take out their board, you're worried that they might link, take out your guys in return, or play whatever. But they play like one card pass. Your guys are ready. Now it's up to you. Do you want to swing again for damage and not, or you can just just play some guys pass and then go for game next turn, or just wait for until your opponent has a real answer. If they don't, you're like, okay, well you don't have anything. I'm gonna now kill you essentially, right? You can't come back from those positions. So having a turn back to back that is both good is really important. And yeah, okay, GDO 3, real quick. You guys know what I'm playing in GDO 3 with the new G-Quux. There's a few new cards that have come out. If you guys are following my principles, we do not need a GM unit. We do not need a level 2, 1 cost, 2/2 in the clan deck. Alright? If you want to include it as a early game, maybe 2 copies, maybe 3 copies, depending. You can. I am not doing it in my deck. There's a reason why my deck works in the way that it does and wins new types, and it's not as easy to play as just attacking your opponent. But hopefully this video will help you. The new G-Quux is going to be a 4 copies in the deck pretty much. 3 to 4 copies, pick your choosing. And we're still running 3 to 4 copies of the level 7 G-Quux. So we're running, currently I have 3 of each. Okay, so 6 total, 3 of each in the deck. I do think that the new level 8 G-Quux is one of the best cards in the next set by quite a bit. It's one of the actual first game ender cards, which is great. And it really, really bolsters you against those late game decks. It makes a big difference, as big of a difference as playing Freedom when you're playing a blocker deck. So you basically have an extra big card now. Makes quite a big of a difference. It also can ping off Ailstrike and kill it because they're usually hurt. Or Freedom Gundam. And suppression can also bring you back in the game and end it quickly. And then they have to block. It's a big beat stick and so on. Besides that, there's one card. Well, there's 2 cards I'm going to talk about that are impactful. The first one is Map Tactics. It's a 2-for-1. Doesn't matter your units come in rested. It's a 2-for-1, which means it's good. Okay, so Map Tactics is a card that I would play 2 of in the deck and test it out and try it out. Because you always want to play 2-for-1s. It's another show of resolve, play 2 bodies, and keep moving forward. Very, very strong. We also play a lot of 2-cost cards in our deck, or 3-cost cards. So this is a very easy card to play on turn 7, Map Tactics plus a 3 cost, or Map Tactics on turn 6 with a 2-cost card, Or maybe turn 5 you play map tactics, leave the 1 mana open for schoolgirl or a base, or just leave it open because you have an EX. If you use the EX and the normal resource, you can play a battle aces or close combat on your opponent's turn. Okay, so map tactics is great. The other one that's really, really, really good is improved technique. Improved technique is our brand new copy of another shield area burst, deals 3 damage, and from her hand, 3 costs, kill something by 3 damage. That card is just a level 3 close combat. Everybody loves close combat. A level 3 close combat that deals 3 damage is basically super good because the only downside of close combat is, hey, we can't kill Angsha's, Rig Diaz, etc. Rizels. Well, with this new card, now we can. And we can do it from shields, which is even better. So now we have another 4 cards in our shields that are going to impact and play into the strategy of, hey, go ahead, take the hits. You hit my shield, 3 damage, kill Angsha, kill Rick Dom, kill this, kill the Ale Strike. 3 damage, ping off the Ale Strike that had 2 damage on it, right? It's going to be playing cards from our shield area, be really, really, really strong. And it can synergize later into the stages of the game with the level 8 coming in, pinging 3. So they hit it from shields, ping 3 to like freedom, play your big guy, ping 3 to freedom again, kill it, swing for shields with the link, etc. Really, really good. That's pretty much it for G-Clocks. Hopefully you guys like this. Drop a comment, let me know, reach out. If you guys want coaching, by the way, you guys listened this far. I coach full time, so if you guys are trying to get to regionals, do well at regionals, some of my clients go, top at regionals with wing and so on. You guys are trying to win new types. My clients have won new types. Locals, tons of local wins. Like, if you get coached by me, you don't just learn how to play clan. You learn how to play trading card games fundamentally. You learn how to build your decks. And then once you get the coaching for like, some people sign up for a month or two, that's TCG coaching for the rest of your TCG lifespan. You don't need more TCG coaching all the time, but this is fundamentals that literally excels you in every single aspect of trading card game. And most importantly, I know some of you guys say I'm a casual, I don't need coaching, but you are a casual. You love one of the joys of playing card games and building decks. Getting coaching on deck building is very, very important and good because it makes you understand how to view decks, how to read decks, how to know if the deck is good or bad by yourself, not just because they won a tournament, but because the deck is actually crafted really well and teaches you how to build a good deck. New sets come out, you guys play new card games. Again, you guys can use the same principles, same theory and concepts and go, win your guys self a regional mat, go win yourself whatever, a new type card. And then you guys win one new type card, that pretty much pays for 2 months of coaching with me. So, some of my clients, they won a Heyman, won a Q-Belly. That literally pays for 3 months of coaching with me, which is a lot of time for going to win one new type. And there's going to be, so many new types in 3 months that you're going to make your money back and have more fun with the game, first of all. It's a good investment. It's like a, boot camp or gym for trading card games. And you don't have to be a bodybuilder. You just want to go to the gym, keep your mental health good, know you're progressing forward in whatever way you can, and that when you go to your tournaments, you're going to be slightly better and keep improving over time and have a much more better experience because when you feel good, your body's good, you're going to have a much more positive outlook on everything. When you play better because you understand your deck better, you understand how to build decks better, you're going to have a good time playing card games and have a better experience and then win more games because you're in a, more positive outlook on card games. So thanks.